Did I do that correctly? Let's see. Chat, there we go. I don't think that it's working. Let's see if it's working on YouTube. Oh, I hate that. Why did it always do that? I can't change the title here. Ooh, news and politics. That's what we're going to do today. Run ads on stream. No, I don't have that. Did it work? Nope, it didn't. Genius. Now what about Twitch? Tonight's beverage is an Apfelschorle. No, it's actually Rhabarberschorle, which is rhubarb spritz, except for the fact that it's actually not a spritz. It is just still, because I do not have politics. Is that a thing? Political tycoon, power politics. Let's just do politics. Okay, cool. Everything is political. Let me see if I can post this. How do I share this? Wow, we're doing really good right now. I'm doing fantastic. Nope. Okay. So I was talking to someone else about this, and I mentioned that I was demonetized today. And it's been really frustrating over on. Can I face that? All right, we're doing it. Oh, is it working? No. Okay, I did it. Oh, that took forever. Hello. Where's everyone watching from? I hope this is working. I won't lie to you. I haven't figured this out totally. Thank you for. I saw a video earlier that I want to talk about, and half the reason I wanted to do this live stream is because of that video. But I saw something else that's really pissing me off, and so I want to talk about it as well. One of the sort of common pieces of propaganda that we see online is this idea that. Right now it's a little bit better, I think. Israel is this bastion in the Middle East. Is my microphone working? Uh-oh. How do I test this? It is working. We're fine. I just realized I might not even be on the right microphone. Yep, it's not. Okay. Good Lord. Anyway, what I was talking about is that there's a very common narrative that Israel is this bastion of feminism and liberal politics. And a lot of the time it's promoted that there's this idea, they promote this idea that Israel is this absolute safe haven, and there is no rape culture. There is no, widespread misogyny. And it could not be less true. It's absolute nonsense. As we say in Hebrew, it's shtuyot. It's not true. And it drives me nuts because it relies on squashing, ignoring, and intentionally disregarding the experiences and the stories of victims and survivors who have lived through atrocities and horrific violence in Israel. And they're so quick to weaponize rape. They're so quick to weaponize misogyny. They're so quick to use that. But then when it comes to actually acknowledging and addressing it within their own society, nothing. And I speak from experience. This isn't just some sort of abstract concept to me. This is a lived experience I've had. And it's just so frustrating to see these Instagram, pundits, which, hey, I am also one of them. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm any better. But to see these Instagram pundits do this without any acknowledgement is just frustrating. I think that this idea that we can't address if there is misogyny or rape culture in our communities, that, we have to just pretend it's not there. We have to sweep it under the rug. How is that helpful? I mean, it's only helpful to bigots. It's only helpful to those who are perpetuating it. It just drives me up the wall, if I'm totally honest with you. Okay, did it work? I don't know if it worked. We'll see. Oh, is it on YouTube? I can't tell. Uh-oh. Okay, maybe it is on YouTube. Did it work? Are y'all familiar with Drew Gooden? Because many years ago, Drew Gooden did he did a video where you tried Ninja's streaming masterclass, and at one point in the end, it was a 24-hour live stream, and he mentioned how hard it is to live stream when you're just sort of talking to yourself. And boy, is he correct. Okay, I want to talk about something else, but I have to be able to pull it up first. How do I pull it up? I wonder if I can play videos in this screen. I haven't done that before, and I unfortunately saved this man's video. We're going to try this. Okay. Video. Select a video. Good gosh. How do I do that? Okay, it's 3 minutes long. We're not going to watch the whole thing, probably. I'm probably going to clip it. Nope, wrong thing. I don't know if that's going to work. I cannot tell if I'm in focus. Okay, it's uploading. It's uploading. Okay, it's going to take a minute to upload. We'll get there. Oh, chat. Hi. Good evening. 25 XP. I love when they gamify being in chat. I wish I could tell if this was properly in focus. Okay, let's see if I can upload it now. Video. It's still uploading. Processing.
Where do you think all of this new age witchcraft, Freemasonic, all this black
Okay.
Where do you think all of this new age witchcraft, Freemasonic, all this black magic, where do you think that stuff is coming from?
You are all this is medieval peasant logic. Literally, this is medieval peasant ideology. The idea that it's Jews who are sorcerers, who are demons, who are doing black magic, which, by the way, is a very old term that has been tied to racism. This is literal medieval anti-Semitism. This is medieval anti-Jewish bigotry. Fun fact. One, it's talked a lot about in this book by Joshua Trachtenberg, Dr. Joshua Trachtenberg, but he also has another book. This is another one of his texts. This is called The Jews and the Devil, the medieval conception of the Jew and its relation to modern anti-Semitism. One of the sections, there are three sections. Section 1, the demonic Jew. Part 2, the Jew as the sorcerer. And part 3, the Jew as heretic. This is a Christian influencer who is literally word for word redoing medieval anti-Semitism, medieval anti-Jewish ideology and beliefs.
Dog, I have been studying Kabbalah.
You haven't been studying Kabbalah. I'll tell you that right now. You haven't been studying Kabbalah. You've been maybe studying what you can find, but in order to actually understand it, right? This is the same as me, someone who does not have a degree in astrophysics, who does not have the prerequisites required to get a degree in astrophysics, going online and watching a bunch of videos about it. Now, maybe I will learn things. Absolutely, I will learn things. Will I become proficient in astrophysics? Will I have the equivalent of a degree in astrophysics? Gesundheit? No, I will not. Kabbalah is a mystical, esoteric tradition. Kabbalah means received, right? Received tradition. That in order to understand, you must have already understood a wide variety of Jewish paradigms. And this man, self-admittedly, is a born-again Christian. Maybe he's not born again. Is a Christian who has no interest in the Jewish paradigm and only has interest in his own ideologies, which he likes to use to promote the idea that Jews are sorcerers and evil. And not only that, that we are bringing around the Antichrist.
For the past however long, dude, I can now confidently say Judaism sucks.
This is, again, this is literal medieval peasant didn't wipe their butt level of anti-Jewish bigotry.
Judaism, dude, it's nasty. And not in like, ooh, you nasty. It's like a Satan kind of nasty.
Infidel or heretic? All right, got that one. Satan kind of nasty. Heretic, sorcerer, Jew, still the devil's own. Devil incarnal.
Like, this is the stuff that Epstein was into.
This is one of my least favorite things because it's just blatantly untrue and blatantly false. Epstein was, by all accounts, one, evil. I want to make it extraordinarily clear. I've condemned Epstein dozens of times, and I will condemn Epstein as a survivor of child sexual assault. I will condemn Epstein forever. He was evil. The people who he was associated with are evil, whether they're Jewish or not. I am absolutely unafraid to condemn other people who do evil things and believe evil things. Epstein didn't believe in Kabbalah because Epstein was, by all accounts, a very strange atheist who was interested in occultism in the broad sense, just as this guy who calls himself a Christian says that he's spent however long studying Kabbalah. No, you haven't. Epstein was disgusting and evil. He was not a Kabbalah scholar. Did he Google things maybe? Sure. Just like you Googled it. The idea that Epstein was some esoteric Kabbalistic priest is insane. And it's, again, rooted in the very same ideology we've been talking about, this medieval anti-Semitism that wants to see Jews as evil sorcerers who are bringing around the devil.
This is the stuff that Aleister
Crowley was a British man who is responsible for the creation of the religion Thelema. He was a horrendous, evil racist, a bigot, a misogynist, a transphobe, and he hated Jews. At one point, he calls us the parasites of man. And you're absolutely right. He was fascinated by Jewish Kabbalah, but he didn't actually have the insight into it. Instead, he studied the Kabbalah, which is the C tradition, a Christian tradition where after Christians discovered that Jews have a mystical tradition known as Kabbalah, they started trying to use it in order to convert Jews to Christianity. They took it and then they replaced a bunch of parts with it with Jesus to try and make us convert to Christianity. And that's what he was obsessed with. And he wasn't even good at it. He was part of these other occult circles like the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which also produced A.E. Waite, another failed Kabbalistic scholar. Yeah, he was obsessed with it. That doesn't make it authentic, which is, again, it's sort of like how this Christian says he's studied Kabbalah for months. It doesn't make you a Kabbalist, and it doesn't make you an expert, and it doesn't mean you actually understand what you're reading. I can physically read the words on a page in an encyclopedia, in a textbook on astrophysics. An astrophysicist, it does not make me.
Was into Eliphas Levi.
Eliphas Levi, born Alphonse Louise, another Christian who was obsessed with Judaism, obsessed with Jewish mysticism, so much that he changed his name to Eliphas Levi or Levi to sound more Jewish. Are you noticing a trend among occultists?
Henry Matthews. All these people were super, super deep into the occult.
Yes, occultists starting in the 1400s. 1490s, we started with Giovanni della Pica Mirandola. I have a great book on him. This is the Harvard University Press discussion of his life. And this is the Christian Kabbalah, Jewish mystical books, and their Christian interpreters, also Harvard College University. Giovanni was an Italian, very, very, very rich man who at the time was able to afford to hire a Jewish scholar to teach him Hebrew, which at that point, Jews were forbidden from, one, owning a lot of land and working in certain areas. And one of the viable life options for many Jewish men was to be traveling teachers and scholars, because Jewish literacy rates have always been far higher than their Christian counterparts. So if you could make your living as a traveling scholar, teaching out of the library of your master, that was a good way to live. And by good, I mean better than starving to death or surviving horrendous anti-Semitism. And so he didn't have his own books. He taught out of his master's library. So Giovanni was obsessed with writing these theses, writing his life's work. And he didn't even finish translating the works of Kabbalah before he wrote them. He didn't finish. So he was reading partially translated ones and then didn't even finish translating before he wrote his theses, which brought Kabbalah into this realm of all these rich Italian Catholics. They were all Catholic. And it's really interesting because we also have evidence of the Medici family in Florence, by the way, Venice. In Venice, where they, by the way, the ghetto, the Venetian ghetto, would allow Jews special privileges if we shared our mysticism. Do you see how, again, this is Christians appropriating Jewish tradition for their own gain? Anyway, so super deep into the occult. The occult has been, for the last 600 years, intrinsically tied to Judaism through appropriation, through exploitation.
And they all loved Kabbalah. And then people will go on to be like, oh, it's just Jewish mysticism.
It is. It's really interesting because Christianity, not this super whitewashed evangelical Protestantism, it has intense mysticism in Christianity. It's so interesting because I have people coming to me being like, oh, I'm Christian and I want to learn Judaism because I want mysticism. Hildegard von Bingen? Hildy always comes to mind because do you know how many Christian mystics there have been? In many, many traditions. We're talking only in the last couple hundred years has American Christianity become so sanitized and devoid of mysticism. I mean, we had the Puritans before that, but even the Puritans had quite an interesting tradition. So this is always really sad to me because you're desecrating your own history in order to be a bigot to Jews.
Just like a denomination of Jews. No, dude. Kabbalah, dude, it is like...
Kabbalah is not its own denomination. This is one of the biggest mistakes or misunderstandings that people have. Kabbalah cannot exist on its own. It is, at its core, a means of understanding Jewish theology. It's a way of understanding our place in the universe and God's infinite wisdom. God is infinite and we are so small. And how do we reconcile that? How do we learn about God? How do we understand our place in this world?
The center, it is like the heart of Judaism.
which always makes me laugh when people say this as if some sort of negative thing. First of all, Kabbalah is often phrased that way, but Kabbalah was codified in the 12th century. How old is Judaism? Do the quick math. It was codified in the 12th century. But that does not make it ubiquitous to every single corner of Judaism. Now, has it been sort of retroactively read into a lot of our traditions? Absolutely. And I can say that because even though I am a religious Jew, I'm also a critical scholar. I can look at my own tradition and tell you what the academic consensus is, separate from what I was taught and what I believe on a spiritual and personal religious level, which clearly some of these other scholars absolutely are not willing to do.
By the way, they put the Babylonian Talmud right next to the Torah.
The Babylonian Talmud is one version of the Talmud. We have two. There's the Palestinian or Jerusalem Talmud, Talmud Yerushalmi, and then there's the Talmud Bavli or the Babylonian Talmud. It is not on the same level as Torah, right? Torah is the foundational document, right? The Hebrew Bible, foundational document. What is the Talmud? It's a commentary on the Torah. It's a commentary on the Torah. You can't have the Talmud without the Torah, because what is the Talmud doing but citing the Torah, extracting lines from it and saying, hey, what do you think this means? Oh, I think it means this. And this idea that the Talmud is some scary document is, again, medieval peasant bigotry. It's embarrassing. I mean, it's really embarrassing. Do you think Christians don't have exegesis? Do you think Christians don't have centuries of commentary and decisions and traditions built on those commentaries? For example, Christians read things differently, right? You can acknowledge that different Christian denominations interpret and read things differently, right? If you can look at how a Catholic does something versus how an Episcopalian does something versus how a Methodist versus how a Lutheran versus how a Mennonite versus how an Amish, a Hutterite, a Presbyterian, a mainline Protestant, an evangelical, a Reformed, an Anglican, if you can look at how they all have different traditions, you can see how there are different interpretations of Christianity, and not just of Christianity, of the texts within it. You can say, well, this is what Jesus meant. No, this is what Jesus meant. And you can cite, well, this is what this biblical scholar says versus what this biblical scholar says. Babes, that's literally what the Talmud is. The Talmud is a collection of discussions, legal debates, folklore, stories. There's one about a rabbi giving someone evil eye so bad he turns into a stack of bones. There's one where God makes a river flow upstream. And then there's other ones where they call each other a demented ostrich. The rabbis are insulting each other and being like, hey, your opinion sucks, you demented ostrich. Get out. Literally get out. And this idea of demonizing the Talmud and making it some scary text is nothing more than just pointing at a woman reading and being like, witchcraft. And the baffling thing is, again, Christianity has its own rich history of exegesis, of studying the texts, of learning from the texts, of learning from each other, of reading the writing of other Christian scholars and sages and deciding, hey, we disagree or we agree with it. And the Talmud is absolutely not on the same level as the Torah. The Torah is the law. The Talmud explains it. It's like when you go to the DMV website, right? Or you go to your state website and you're trying to figure out a traffic law. And it says, this is what you have to do in a school zone. And then you're like, oh, I don't really understand it. Let me click the expanded version and see what it actually says so I can understand what it's trying to tell me to do.
In terms of authority, putting man's words right next to God's words. Like, imagine.
It doesn't do that. This is, again, what is called a classical lie.
Like 4,000 years, you just have these one group of people interpreting a specific text, but it keeps getting
No. So it's not one group of, it is one group of people in the sense that it's all Jews, but we're talking about thousands of interpretations. thousands of discussions, thousands of debates. This idea that it was like 4 of them. We have sort of the big rabbis, right? The really famous names. We have Rashi, Maimonides, Abaye, Yochanan. Right? We have the big names. You think that they are the only ones? That's just not true. And the other thing is, you can also read what they wrote and they'll be like, well, I think David was a liar. I think David's interpretation was bad. This is what I think, but Jonathan's was bad. David is stupid. And I think that Joseph is asleep under a tree. Like they're just, this idea of like, oh, well, they're interpreting another person's interpretation. They're always going back to citing the original text.
Interpreted all the way down from teacher to student to student.
Right. Teacher to student, student to teacher. And they're always going back and citing, and this is the line of Torah we're talking about. We're talking about this line, right? I'm going to Bereshit, right? In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right? Whatever. Let's pretend that's the correct translation. And they'll be like, well, this is what I think. What do you think? Oh, this is what you think? Okay, read it, what it says. It's not just a game of telephone, which I believe he says in a second.
Student, and so on and so forth. Big game of telephone with a bunch of lies.
The game of telephone analogy in the Talmud only works if they weren't directly citing the Torah every time. If only Rabbi A had the Torah and then it was interpreted, what he said was interpreted by another one who's interpreted by another one, maybe this analogy would work, but it doesn't work because they were all citing and reading the original text. And this idea that it's a game of telephone, that implies that they believed each other and that they agreed with each other and they just took it and they used that. They didn't. They frequently called each other out. They frequently said that the other person was a moron, that they were, again, demented ostrich, and were like, I absolutely disagree with you. Lord, heaven save us from your terrible, baseless opinion.
You know how I know it's lies? It's because your Messiah already...
This is what I like to call the uncritical religious perspective. And I say this again, I am a religious person. I am religious and I have my spiritual beliefs, which are very important to me. But that doesn't mean that I can just project onto something. If you're going to be doing scholarship, which this is not a scholar, if you're going to be doing scholarship, you have to be able to check your own paradigm at the door. There's a reason that a lot of the things that I post online very often don't include my interpretations. They don't include my religious beliefs because my religious beliefs are not what we are debating. If we're talking about history, if we're talking about scholarship, my beliefs are not relevant.
He came down. He already came down. You rejected him because you misinterpreted scripture because of your own flesh. Not even that, they're probably influenced.
The idea that Jews are the ones misinterpreting our own scripture is so arrogant, but okay.
By demons, dude. It's like...
Oh, wait, what did he say?
Dude, Christian, it keeps getting interpreted and interpreted and interpreted and interpreted
By the
and
way,
interpreted.
if you're hanging out
all
in
the
here,
way down from teacher to student to student to student and so on and so forth. Big game of telephone with a bunch of lies. You know how I know it's lies? It's because your Messiah already came down. He already came down. You rejected him because you misinterpreted scripture because of your own flesh. Not even that, they're probably influenced by demons, dude.
Again, this idea that Jews must be influenced by demons. Joshua Trachtenberg already wrote the book on this. Again, let's look at this. Part 1, the demonic Jew, devil and carnal, Antichrist with horns and tails. Ooh, let's see what else this guy has to say. I wonder if we're going to get a full bingo. Okay, let's see.
It's like, dude, Christians have no power. We have to step up our game. This is ridiculous. We got the God of the universe dwelling within us, and you're afraid of like a witch casting a spell on you? Dog, you think their manifestations...
Can I just say this? Okay, so Christians have always been... very afraid of witchcraft. They've always been very afraid of other religions and other spiritualities. And it's really fascinating, the history of this. Like we were talking about earlier with Giovanni della Mirandola. He, again, paid a Jew. He was in the 1400s Catholic, Italian Catholic, paid a Jewish scholar to come teach him Hebrew and to teach him Torah and scripture. And he tried to learn Kabbalah from him deeply ineffectively. But he wanted Jewish mysticism. There's a really good story in here about how the bishop, I believe it was Salzburg, the bishop of Salzburg approaches a rabbi and demands that he gives him a mezuzah. If you don't know what a mezuzah is, There's a line in the Torah which tells us that we must put his words on our doorposts. So on every Jewish doorpost, there is a little box. It's usually like a rectangle, and inside of it contains a klaf. A klaf is a piece of parchment, handwritten with the lines of Torah in it. It has these sacred prayers in it, and we put it on our doorposts to fulfill this commandment. And spiritually, it's this idea of God, we are fulfilling the commandments, and through our fulfillment of the commandments, God is protecting us. It is in many ways an amulet of protection, God's protection. And the Bishop of Salzburg came to Jews and said, I demand you give me one. I want your protection. I want Jewish amuletic magic. This idea that Jews have this special magic against Christians has been around for centuries. And this idea that Christians are terrified of the scary Jews and their scary witchcraft. Yeah, you are scared of anything that you are remotely unable to understand. Again, it's sort of like turning on a light switch and going, witchcraft, right? And this idea, like, why are we so afraid of manifestation? I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that question for you, but it is quite sad. I just realized there are more.
I don't fear it. I know people who do.
Of course, it's
these people were the first people to find out about manifestation.
Jews are the first people to find out about manifestation. No, but sure. You know what? I'll let you have it. I mean, it's not true, but sure.
Instead of using it for God's will, they use it for the kingdom of darkness.
And there it is. This idea that Jews are agents of the devil. By the way, I just realized that there's a bunch of comments. This guy, LMAO. Yeah. Hello. Hi, friends. If you're here, by the way, you're welcome to leave comments and ask questions. If you have any, I wanted to clip this guy so bad earlier, but I just had such a bad headache today. I didn't feel like doing it. So we're talking about it now. Probably shouldn't stream at 10 p.m., but whatever. All right.
They will usher in the
and there it is. Jews will usher in the Antichrist. Part 1, the demonic Jew. Section 2 of part 1, Antichrist. Yep. I mean, the same script. It's the same script over and over and over. And how much you want to bet? Just like a medieval peasant.
Christ. I don't say that lightly. There's a reason that God's been having me research this whole entire religion for the past however long. It is
Judaism. Well, you didn't do a very good job of it. And I say that as someone, with a degree in the field of religious studies. Oh, someone followed me on Twitch. Hello. Anyway, I don't want to look at his person's face anymore. How do I remove it? Remove. Thank God. Ugh, that was a nightmare. All right, how do I get out of these? Thumbnail. Nope. Sure. Let's do it this way. Why are you so obsessed with us? Seriously, why are you so obsessed with us? I wish I knew why Christians are so obsessed with us. It would make me feel a little bit. I mean, it's just really sad, honestly. It's honestly just really depressing if you think about it for more than 4 seconds. Welcome in. Hello. I wonder how many followers I have on Twitch. What is this about? We're talking about weird Christian bigotry, which is fascinating because I was talking earlier. So for those of you who don't know, I own a store, and the focus of the store is Jewish traditional diasporic traditions, right? Do you think I can say the word traditional more? Anyway, for those of you who don't know, I'm an independent scholar. My research and my writing and my work is focused on Jewish folk traditions and folk magic. Vote left as far as you can. And there's been this really interesting sort of, there's been a debate and discussion in recent times because there was a pretty famous tarot reader, not famous, but pretty well-known tarot reader over on TikTok, whose name I am blanking on, but will pretend that I didn't, who very publicly deleted all their videos and came out that they are now a born-again Christian. Which, hey, you know what? Whatever life path makes you happy. However, slight problem, they were selling tarot readings. They were selling services, I believe 3 days before they had their revelation that they were going to become a born-again Christian, which I would find to be rather unethical. But it sparked this big debate in these spiritual communities, right? We've got witch talk, we have, witch threads, spiritual threads. I'm sure it's happening on Twitter, but I'm not on Twitter. I've seen it on Instagram, right? A lot of these online spaces are sort of up in arms about this. And that reminded me how I have had a Google Docs since, God, what is it? Oh, is my keyboard dead? No, let's hope it's not. I've had a Google document since 2022, which I call the Christian to Witch to Christian Again pipeline. I don't know that person. He was and then deleted everything to be born again. Yeah, it's very common. It's very common for people to do that. And it's really interesting. Yeah, let me find out the Christian to Witch to Christian Again pipeline. All right, let's do it. This is what I like to call the Christian to Witch to Christian Again pipeline. Okay. I always do a disclaimer. I'm not passing judgment upon people. Finding your spiritual path is your own journey, and I'm happy you found your path. This is merely documenting something I see quite often. Not everyone who becomes a witch after being Christian goes back. This is only about those who do go back. And this theory is solely built around folks who entirely left Christianity after never having any sort of witchcraft in their spirituality, not people who practice things like brujeria, curanderismo, or traditions that syncretize Christianity with other forms of spirituality, right? Glad to catch your stream. Welcome. I know it's kind of late, and honestly, should I have necessarily done it so late? Probably not. Can I zoom into this? How do I zoom this in? Zoom. Nope. That's too zoomed. Right. Okay. Well, now we have to do. No, still too zoomed. Still too zoomed. Okay. Can we see that? Christian to Witch to Christian Again pipeline. How do I hide these slides? Can't? Okay. Phrase 1, Christian AI viewers stream boo. What does that even mean? Okay. So this is generally where people start in the, can I ban them? I don't. Let's see. Nope. Hide. Cool. I don't know if I did that. I'm not going to lie to you folks. I'm doing it through a service, not through Twitch directly. So I don't know if I can ban anyone. Nope. Don't know how to. Not going to. Anyway. So the phase 1 is when you're already Christian, right? So this is the beginning. And usually when you are Christian and you are on the Christian to Witch to Christian Again pipeline, you start by having, you have trauma with Christianity, valid, right? And you feel like you have no agency. You were forced into it, or you experienced toxicity. So purity culture, shaming, right? And you feel like maybe you don't connect with God or Jesus, and you can't feel like you can do what's required, whether that's speaking in tongues or confession or purity or penance or piety, right? And you feel oftentimes abandoned by God. That's phase 1. Phase 2, witch. Now this stage varies heavily, so there's a number of possibilities, but usually the people who were Christian come into witchcraft through a Wicca lens. And for those who don't know, Wicca is a religion that was started in the 1950s by a British man named Gerald Gardner, who just took from a bunch of other previous traditions, just borrowed a bunch. I mean, he just took a bunch of random things. I mean, even things like, for example, so he published under the name Scire, Scire. He published fiction, and his fiction did not do well at all. And so then he published his witchcraft stuff. Mind you, he was a plantation worker in a plantation. It's unclear if he actually owned it or if he only worked on his father's plantation, a rubber plantation. He was also part of a European militia. And he would perform unauthorized archaeological excavations with children doing the labor for him. Mind you, he had no formal education. He had a nanny his whole life, but he never went to school of any kind. So this idea that he was performing and making children do labor for him is bonkers in the global south. I believe it was Indonesia. I could be wrong though. Anyway, so Wicca is usually where they enter Christianity. And so they have oftentimes a total demonization and hatred of Christianity and disdain for it. You'll often see them online just like bashing Christians and Christianity, especially the ones they came from. And this next bit is the most important part. They do not unlearn Christian perspectives on religions, other religions, how to interact with religion. They still retain a deeply Christian lens when approaching spirituality, and they don't acknowledge that they've been shaped by a Christian framework. And this is where we still have many spiritualists online. They are still in this part of it. And then as they move back towards the Christian again framework, right, we start seeing them incorporating saints into their work. We start seeing them suddenly, now they have an altar for Jesus, or maybe they have angels in their work again. Maybe they have Mary Magdalene or Hildegard von Bingen, right? They have these Christian figures suddenly back in their work. They start bringing them into their practice. And then one of the last steps before they become Christian again is almost always they begin speaking for Jesus or God. They start doing tarot readings for Christians, for the Christian, on behalf of the Christian God. They start speaking for Jesus or God, or acting as a go-between for the Christian God and other people. And then we end up in phase 3, which is Christian again. And there are 4 ways that this can end. We have what we discussed earlier, right? The born again Christian. So, for example, the person like the tarot reader who recently went to being a Christian, they became a born again Christian. They are now anti-witchcraft. They are anti-occult, and they use their experiences with witchcraft to renounce witchcraft, to say it's evil, to say it's demonic. Good Lord, demonic. Then we have people who are Christian witches. They are practicing Christian, witchcraft through a Christian lens as well, which, by the way, is possible, even though it's controversial. Then we have the Christianity syncretized folk witch, right? This is often very cultural, right? We see people practicing things that have been practiced for centuries, right? We have, for example, Italian American or Italian folk magic, which is heavily syncretized with Catholicism. You see this. There's a lot of Irish traditions around this, and absolutely so many from South America, the Caribbean, places that have been colonized by Christianity, right? Then we have the progressive Christian. This is often someone who they're no longer practicing witch, but they're socially progressive and they don't really have an issue with it, right? We've got the born again Christians, and then we have the progressive Christians. And I haven't really seen a difference between, anywhere else on that spectrum, where it's you are now either a Christian witch, Christian syncretized folk witch, progressive Christian, or born again Christian. And when I say born again Christian, I'm not actually talking about the specific denomination of born again Christianity. I'm talking specifically about this idea, the sort of idea behind it. Sometimes they're not born again Christians in the Protestant sense. They are hardline conservative Catholics. Sometimes they become Mormon, which is kind of always a surprise. I know of one who went all the way and became a Jehovah's Witness. That one was fun. But yeah, so I like talking about the Christian to Witch to Christian again pipeline because I think you know what? It's never failed me. I've had it for 4 years, just since I made the document. It's been 4 years and it has never failed me once. And you would maybe not be surprised at how frequently it comes in handy. What time is it? Oh, it's 9:57 p.m. Well, where is everyone? Instantly reminded of this one Catholic convert on Twitter who had a whole thread of posts about their experience as an Aphrodite devotee and claims that Aphrodite is a demon, tried to hurt them while they were on vacation in Greece. Oh, that is very sad. I'm sorry they had that experience. I've seen a lot of those. There's one that keeps coming up on my Instagram because Instagram doesn't really know what to do with me in its categorization. So it sees that I talk about religion. So it's like, okay, you must want Christian content. And then I'm like, no, I don't really want Christian content. And then it sees me interact with spirituality. And it's like, what do I do with you? So it keeps showing me this one account of someone who was they were the Christian to Witch to born again Christian again. And they absolutely just love saying things, being like, and I didn't realize I was inviting demons into my home. And it's them like sprinkling salt on their doorstep. And I'm like, oh, that's sad, isn't it? Not even in a, it's not about what I personally believe. It's about the fear ideology of everything that you don't understand or everything that seems interesting or weird or strange must automatically be demons. Just baffling behavior, if I'm totally honest. Just nonsensical behavior. I wish I could see where people are watching from. I wonder if there is a way for me to do that. Theme. Ooh, theme. Let's see. Base. Oh, did that put a little bubble in the corner for everyone? That's fun. I like that. News. Let's see. Everything is political. It's true. Everything is political. Chat. By the way, as always, if you have any questions, if you have any topics you want me to cover, we can talk about that as well. I just felt like getting that off my chest because that video annoyed me so bad. Oh, the amount of men who are just, Speaking of, I made a video today or yesterday talking about shipping prices in my small business. And the amount of people who are like, well, actually, have you tried using Pirate Ship? Which, by the way, if you guys don't know, Pirate Ship is a website. It's free to use. It is, despite the name, 100% legit. You use it. It's just a shipping service. So you can put everything in, and then you can buy shipping services. And it compares prices from USPS, UPS, and FedEx. And then you can just buy the label. You can download it or print it at home and then ship your item. I used it exclusively for 2 years for my small business and before I switched to Shopify. Shopify has its own in-house shipping system. The amount of men in my comments being like, well, you have the wrong shipping setup. You're using the wrong dispatch. You're using the wrong program. You're using the wrong dispatcher. And I'm like, okay, which one should I use? And they're like, well, you should use Pirate Ship. Babe, I used Pirate Ship for 2 years straight. And then when I switched to Shopify, I compared it for 3 months. And I still compared prices regularly because I still use Pirate Ship for all of my non-business shipping. For example, today I had to ship my sister a pillow and a couple other little things. So I went into Pirate Ship, put my box size in there, did it, and I compared it to a similar address through Shopify. Shopify is still cheaper than Pirate Ship. And the amount of arrogant men telling me that I must be wrong, it drives me up the wall. It really does. Oh, I wonder if I can open up TikTok on my browser. Who's calling me? Oh. Can I open up on my browser? You and me, we're figuring this out together. Make your day. TikTok is not making my day. Oh, good Lord. How are you going to close the sidewalk? Right. By the way, in case you're wondering if you've ever followed me on TikTok, maybe you haven't. All right. If you've ever followed me on TikTok, TikTok decided today that they're just going to demonetize me. Yeah. No more, I can't reach that. No more payments on any of my videos, even if they're over, a minute long, even if they have good interaction, even, no matter what, they just decided that, no more. My RPM was just dropped to 0. And that's it. And apparently it happened a month ago, and I just didn't realize until I checked today, because I wanted to do that thing where so I don't know about you guys, but every 5th video on my For You page for the last 3 weeks has been people saying, hi, I'm paying off my debt, or I'm saving for a house, or I'm doing whatever, using the interaction from yesterday's video. And so they'll take the interactions from the video before, and they'll maybe designate each interaction half a penny. So let's say they get 1,000 in total, right? That's they get 1,000 interactions in total, and then they divide it. That means that they made 50 cents, right? So I made that video and I was like, oh, I should go check in on how much I've made on TikTok in general, because they don't have automatic withdrawal. They don't have choice withdrawal anymore. You have to do automatic withdrawal. So they used to just deposit it into my account whenever, right? I couldn't be like, hey, give me my money right now. No, I just wait for it to come. And it's been pennies recently. Like for the last couple months, it's been maybe 20, $30 per month. Even though I have had videos getting millions of views and really good interactions, really good comment rate, really good liking. And I realized that they just a month ago, they just stopped paying me. They just decided my RPM, which is my rate per view, which is per 1,000 qualified views, they just dropped it to 0. No more. You're done. Which has been, devastating personally. All right, we're going to scroll my TikTok. Let's see what's going on here. That just drove me up the wall and I wanted to complain about it. And I appreciate everyone listening. Okay, let's see.
What is your name and what?
Mom says she misses a
Dad.
Yes.
Egg donation's not for you.
By the
That
way,
is totally
if you're seeing
fine.
this, I don't know if you can hear it. Let me turn this off. If you are seeing this, these ads for egg donations have been all over my For You page lately. In case you don't know, the fertility industry in the US is deeply and wildly unregulated and does not give donor-conceived persons the right to their information, to actually having their medical information, their family information, which is very important because guess what? Many people who are donor conceived are born and then they have issues, they have a health issue, and they have no idea what to do because they don't have any of their history. They don't have any of their family history. Do you have a family history of BRCA? Don't know. And people are like, oh, no, we test you. All they do is I'm pretty sure what's legally required is an STD test. That's it. So if you're seeing these, don't fall for them. Oh, by the way, I do love Grey's Anatomy. It's one of my favorite shows. It's a terrible, evil, garbage show, but I do love it. Ew, God, Lord. All right, I'm done. This is too much, too stressful. They've been really bringing down the hammer on creators recently, from what I hear. Yeah, I've received hundreds of comments and DMs from people in the last couple hours being like, hey, yep, I also got demonetized, or my favorite creators got demonetized. And it really sucks because, I mean, TikTok didn't pay much, but it was something, and it sucks when and Instagram, by the way, pays almost nothing to the vast majority of your creators, right? Who is this person? And why did I don't know who this person is. It doesn't pay creators on Instagram almost anything. Facebook is the only one that pays, and their rate is also pretty terrible. We're talking like pennies per 1,000 views. And that's frustrating because the content industry wouldn't exist without content creators. You can see what kinds of creators are affected too. It's absolutely awful. Yep. Yeah, and Facebook is awful. Facebook has some of the most horrendous, evil comments. I have had, not only is that the truth, they also are really bad about moderation. So I have to do a lot of my own moderating and reporting. And literally I had a comment, and I think about it frequently because I keep getting different versions of it where they're like, the Mossad should take this woman out. Mossad should take me out. I should be killed by And you know what Facebook said to that? They said, that is not against our community guidelines. Another one, make more space in the oven for her. Not against community guidelines. That one was fun. Facebook comments are just some of the worst things I've ever seen in my entire life. I have an entire folder on my desktop called, where is it? Insane comments. Let's see if we've got any fun ones in here. Let's see. Oh, these are so bonkers. Oh my God, these are wild. They're like 3 paragraphs long. I forgot how long they are. This one's fun. Yeah, I have genuinely some of the most insane, horrendous comments on Facebook. And I don't understand how you deal with all the death threats you get. Like, it's genuinely impressive and I commend your spirit. Thank you. Honestly, they don't really get to me as much anymore. There are only certain sort of kinds of comments that actually like hurt my feelings. Most of them just kind of roll off the back. They don't really impact me. But the comments you've gotten over the years have baffled me so bad, like genuinely incomprehensible levels of hate in these people's hearts. Yeah, it is genuinely incomprehensible. The fascinating thing is that people often expect there to be a certain demographic of hate that comes my way. And when they are confronted with the reality that it comes from many different angles and many different people, it's frustrating for them. And I had the funniest, I actually had a really funny DM. So I firmly believe that if you are consuming content online, it is also your job to witness and deal with the hatred that comes with, your content creators being online, right? People are always like, well, why do you give so much energy to the haters? Because otherwise I'm suffering in silence. I'm allowed to air them out if I want to. If I feel like it's worth it for me to give commentary on a horrendous comment that I have to deal with, why are you telling me that I should just suffer in silence and deal with it quietly? Why? Because it'll make you feel more comfortable because you don't want to see it. Like, I literally had someone DM me and they're like, why are you so negative all the time? Because I deal with these, I only put out a tiny minuscule fraction of the insane comments that I get. And you want me to just deal with it in silence? That doesn't feel reasonable or fair or logical, does it? And I had someone DM me from one of my things, and they were talking about, they were saying that the hate comments I get from Zionists, right? Saying that I should be raped, saying that I would make a good fertilizer for Gaza, which was really interesting. They said, and I think the specific one was, your corpse will fertilize my flower bed when I colonize Gaza. Something along those lines. I don't remember the exact details because it was crazy. Someone recently told me I'd make good breeding stock. Anyway, so I had someone DM me and say that they were a Zionist and they were really upset about the hate comments that I get from Zionists because it makes their community look bad. You're mad about the hate comments I get because it makes your community look bad, not because it means that your community has there's something fundamentally rotten there. And here's the thing. I know that on the left, there are horrendous, evil people, and I don't have problems condemning them. If you use rape, misogyny, violence, and I'm talking about like specific gendered violence, targeted violence against minorities, if you use that rhetoric, you are a bad person. It makes you a bad person. And I don't have a problem condemning it because ideologically, if you're willing to use rape as a method, as a tool, we do not align. It's not really a problem for me. As a public figure and having your own shop, are you ever concerned about people coming to your shop? Do you have protective measures for that? It always concerns me when I see your comments on your stuff because you're shopping common knowledge. Yeah, it's something I'm scared of all the time. It's really frightening. One of the things I'm really happy about is my partner has actually come and worked with me now. My partner is responsible for almost most of our back of shop operations. We're talking online orders, shipping, delivery, packing, that kind of stuff, right? I get to work with the love of my life every single day. It's amazing. And my partner will sometimes be like, I'm sick, I need to stay home, but I don't want you to go to the shop alone. I don't want you to be there alone. It's very scary, And I take a lot of comfort knowing that many people are cowards. They're very loud on the internet, but people are often really cowardly, realistically, right? And I've had people come in clearly hating what I do, clearly not liking me. And it's never been a problem in the sense that they end up being cowards and leaving, but it is really scary. It's terrifying. You know, before we were opened, we were having a work day and an elderly gentleman wandered in, and we found out later that he had Parkinson's, but he wandered in, started quizzing me, questioning me, and he had his carer with him. And his carer, by the way, never did anything, never stepped in, never did anything. And the elderly man started he started accusing me of selling illegal candles, doing illegal things. And it became clear he wasn't fully lucid, but not until after he called my partner, who is Mexican, an illegal, and threw a candle at me and started swinging his cane around and breaking plants and things. And I've had elderly men, and you know what? Funny thing, it's always been elderly Jewish men. Actually, that's not true. One of them was Catholic. Sorry, my apologies. Elderly white men. One of them came in and started screaming at me when he saw that I carry, Edward Said and Angela Davis, and was screaming at me. And I told him, like, if you're going to scream at me, you need to leave. And it was just awful. Like, it was genuinely scary and terrifying for a while there, because you never know what someone's going to do. And this is America, babes. We have guns. Okay. So do I have protections in place? I do. Does that mean that they're always going to work? Who knows? But yeah, it is scary. The community makes itself look bad. Lol, the lack of logic is astounding. Yeah. When people find out I'm in the process of conversion and anti-Zionist, it gives them free rein to say horrible things. I shouldn't have to roll over for the sake of community. Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. It's awful. You know, the hate comments that come with it are just disgusting. And, you know, I think I've been very clear, and I'll make it clear again. If you use bigoted ideology to try and dunk on people online, I want nothing to do with you, because bigotry is never the answer. It's not. And I think it's really important. You should love the people you're fighting for more than you hate the people you're fighting against. I'm almost finished with my beverage, which is devastating. It was quite yummy. Yeah. By the way, if you follow me on Instagram, which I'm assuming most of you do, if you follow me on Instagram, a good way to be notified of when I'm going to do things like going live is to make sure you have my notifications on Instagram, because Instagram has been hating me lately. It's been really fun. For those of you who don't know, my father passed away in April, and I've been kind of struggling ever since. Just, you know, a lot of upheaval, a lot of things going through my mind, a lot of things happening. So it's been, content creation is always difficult. Figuring out content and sort of going through things has been a nightmare. And Instagram has recently just not been great algorithmically, which, you know, it is what it is, but it is quite annoying. Yeah, it's not that off topic. Here, let me see if I can put this on the page so everyone can see it. Okay. Really off topic, but do you have any practices that you do every day to feel close to Creator? Do you have any spiritual traditions that you incorporate day to day or week to week, and you think 20 to something Jewish people would benefit from? Yeah, I think that we have a lot of built-in practices in Judaism that make it really good, makes it really easy to have day-to-day moments of connection. I think there are the basics, right? Shema, morning and night, right? If you can't do it morning and night, start with night, right? You can do Modani in the morning, Modani, which is just, it's literally like 10 words. Right? So that's how fast it is. And you can literally have it on a little slip of paper on your bedside table. You could also have it on your phone screen. For those of you who don't know, if you have an iPhone, one of the ways you can do is you can have like a rotating phone screen. I have a friend of mine who has different brachas, different prayers on it, and she can just tap through them. Like I have one, if we get to it, let's see. This is the Ana Bekoach, which is a Kabbalistic prayer. So I can just tap to it if I want it while I'm, you know, somewhere out and about. And then say the Shema. And the Shema is made up of multiple parts, right? We have the sort of statement, and then we have the first lines, the lines from Torah, and you can always work your way up to the longer paragraph. You can start with just the basics and then work your way up. Another thing that I find that is genuinely really does connect me is saying the brachas over food. Brachas are blessings. For those of you, I don't know if everyone here is Jewish, but if you're not, welcome. If you are, welcome. Brachas means blessings, right? And we bless our food before we eat. And we're not just, I often like to think about it as a time of not just thinking about the food itself, but also thinking about every hand that touched it before it got to me. For most of us, we are not eating food that was grown in our own gardens. We were not the person who sowed it, who watered it, who picked it, who brought it inside, who washed it, who prepared it, and then we ate it, right? For most of us, our food is grown, depending on where you live, maybe close, maybe far, right? In Los Angeles, we get a lot of our food from the Central Coast. It was sown by someone in a field that was tilled by someone else. And then it was watered by someone else. It was harvested. It was packed. It was washed. It was transported. It was taken in and out of the trucks. It was put on the grocery store shelves. Yes, maybe you picked it. Maybe your partner picked it up and put it on the conveyor belt. Someone probably packed it for you. It got home. It was put in your fridge. And that's just for, let's say, a package of lettuce, right? And yes, when you would, in Judaism, by the way, we split up our prayers for our food, our blessings for our food, based on the kind of food it is. So we say fruit of the earth if it's something that's grown in the ground, like a strawberry or a piece of lettuce, right? So I don't just take that moment to think about, yes, the earth, right? But I also think about every person who was in that process to get it to me. Who made it possible? And that's just for a vegetable. Think about things that are processed, like a barbecue sauce. Every single ingredient had to be grown, harvested, and mined. Then it had to be, every single thing had to go through its own unique process to get to us. There are probably hundreds of hands, hundreds of people who went into making it possible. So I like to say brachas because I think they give me a moment of appreciation, not only for Creator, but also for the world around us and for every single person who made our food possible. So I like to say brachas over our food, right? It can be difficult to get started on that. Again, I like to have a screenshot of things in my phone, putting them into a folder. You can just pop it open and go, this is the one I'm looking for. My favorites folder has 3,000 items in it. Don't judge me, okay? Don't judge me. Another thing that I do that I think is really made me feel more connected is the use of specific language. For example, I use Baruch Hashem and Bizrat Hashem all the time. All the time. Baruch Hashem means praise God. Bizrat Hashem, so God's will. And it's really interesting because I'll see people using, even people who are not naturally Arabic speakers or not Muslim, they'll be using like Inshallah, right? Which is the same as Bizrat Hashem, so God willing. Which, by the way, Inshallah is used by Jewish Arabic speakers, in case you were wondering. Because people are yearning for that kind of language. They're using, and it doesn't sound as natural in English to many of us. We're like, so God willing. It just doesn't necessarily roll off the tongue for many of us. But I use Bizrat Hashem, Baruch Hashem all the time. And I use them in text too. So you'll be seeing, if I'm in the comments or someone's like, oh man, I can't wait to come visit the shop. I'll be like, B apostrophe, quotation mark H, Bizrat Hashem. So thank God. Like, thank God. Or I had an amazing day. Bizrat Hashem, thank God you had an amazing day. And the language we use is so, not to sound like woo-woo about it. I can be woo-woo, but this is not the woo-woo part. I think the language you use is really important. And it's a reminder in so many aspects. So I really enjoy that. Let's see what else. It's back on the screen. Trying to think of anything else that I do like every day that, because I think that we often have an all or nothing mindset where we're like, if we don't do all the things at once, we can't do any of it. And it's like, no, you can do as much or as little, as it calls to you, right? Oh, speaking of, I think these are so cool. Look at these oyster shells that I found in the North Sea. Oysters, not kosher. Shells is decoration, kosher. Look at this look at this. Tiny baby oyster shells. They're so cute. This is my random box of trinkets. It's a small thing. It belonged to my grandmother. I also have just so many bobby pins in here. Do I keep kosher? So I keep what I like to call kosher style. I'm going to be very honest. There are many versions of kosher, depending on the halacha, depending on the minhag you keep. Minhag is tradition. It's, often based on your community. So I keep what I like to call kosher style. I don't eat pork. I don't mix meat and dairy. To be fair, I don't eat that, so it's fine. And yeah, so kosher style. I will buy, for example, a packet of seaweed, even if it doesn't have a hechsher on it. A hechsher means it's a stamp of kosher certification. Let's see. Do I have anything that has food? Do I have any food and packages in here? I don't think I do. Okay. For example, these are not Jewish. These are German candies. These are fine drops. This one is orange and lemon flavored ones. I really like these ones. These are vegan, but they don't have a hechsher. They don't have a kosher certification. I will still eat these because I keep kosher style, not strict kosher. And it's always interesting to me, the different levels of kashrut we have, or kashrut. Like, for example, I have a friend who only keep Chalev Yisrael, which means that the dairy was overseen by a rabbinic authority the entire time from milking to bottling. And then I have other friends who are like, give me more bacon wrapped shrimp dipped in cheese sauce, please. But yes, like for him, I don't eat seafood, unkosher seafood. I don't eat pork. I don't mix meat and dairy. And I keep kosher for Pesach. I was vegan for 10 years. I'm now plant-based. Due to chronic illness, I have to incorporate certain things into my diet, which was really difficult for me. But we're trying to survive. Oh, did we finally reach something? What happened? It just did a little burst on the screen. I can't tell if it did something. What happened? There are 15 of you. Hello. Can I ask where everyone's watching from? I always find it so fascinating. For those of you who don't know, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm streaming from LA. It's almost 10:30 p.m. I should probably go to sleep. Ooh, I know this isn't strictly political, but everything is political, so we're doing it. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but my hair is looking a little different than usual. Normally, it's a very dark brown, and now it's looking a little bit lighter. Aotearoa, New Zealand. I do love the Kiwi accent. I do. I don't do a great one, but I think it's delightful. Oh my God, we have 2 New Zealand folks here. Whoa. Yeah, I may ask about the meat and dairy rule. I've never heard of this rule before. Watching from Chicago. I love Chicago. Okay. So in Judaism, there's a line in Torah that says, you shall not eat a kid, meaning a baby goat, in its mother's milk. This has turned into a rule in Judaism where we don't eat meat and dairy together. The idea is that you wouldn't want to take a mother's milk and then kill her baby and put it in it. So we don't do that. So depending on, so for example, this would mean if you're having a lunch, if you're having one meal, you would never have meat and dairy together in the same meal. Some people think like, oh, you have to do one bite, then the other bite. No, it means nothing together. So for example, if you go to a synagogue for a Shabbat lunch on Saturdays, you're usually going to have a meat meal, meaning it's probably going to be chicken. And if it's not, it's probably going to be fish, because there's actually 3 categories. We have milchig, dairy, fleischig, meat, and parev. Parev means neutral. In that neutral category, we have all vegetable and all plants, right? All plants are parev. You have honey, you have eggs, and you have fish. So those are all parev foods. So those can go with either. You can have, you can have parev go to the dairy, and you can have it go to the meat. So for example, a really traditional Saturday lunch that's fleischig, that's meat, would be like chicken, roast chicken thighs. You can have cholent. Cholent is a stew that we use, an overnight stew with potatoes and beans. And sometimes there's tomatoes, sometimes there's eggs, sometimes there's beef in it, but oftentimes beef is quite expensive, so there's no beef in it. And then you'll have maybe kugel, which is potato kugel. You can have potato, or you can have noodle kugel, which maybe have eggs in it. And then you'll have like a salad. And then for dessert, you'll have something like raspberry sorbet maybe. Or maybe you'll have a dairy-free cake, or egg or something, right? And then we also have, you can have a dairy meal. So you'll have cholent again, which is pareve because it's just vegetables. And you'll have salmon, and salmon is again pareve. It's neutral because it's fish, but you can have butter sauce on it, and that's dairy. And then you'll have salad, but it has feta crumbles in it. And then for dessert, you'll have ice cream. And in Judaism, in certain communities, you wait a certain number of hours after you eat meat. Before you eat, we usually wait between 3 and 6 hours after you eat meat to eat dairy again. And then you usually wait 2 to 3 hours after you eat dairy to eat meat again. So usually if you're going to be doing meat and dairy throughout the day, you have to plan with the timing. Midwest. Hi out there. Yeah. In Southern California. Love my fellow Southern Californians. My rabbi said vegan is what Creator wanted during Eden, and kosher is an old FDA, but also as a way to be thoughtful and trying our best to still be nice to animals. Yeah. Animal welfare is actually really important in Judaism for both godly reasons and sort of selfish reasons. The idea is that it is our requirement to treat them as well as possible. If an animal is sick or injured, it cannot be slaughtered. It just can't be food. And so in order to make sure your animals aren't sick or injured, they just are in better conditions than the standard. And you are not the first person to think that. This is a book from, I bought this in 2017. This one is from 1988. This is the 4th edition, Judaism and Vegetarianism by Richard H. Schwartz. It's a very common belief system. There are actually many vegetarian Jews. It seems a lot easier for a lot of kosher laws. Yeah, it is. And in a lot of kitchens, so you don't mix meat, milchig, and fleischig, and there's actually a lot of rules when it comes to the sort of your cookware. You don't mix meat, you don't cook meat in your dairy cookware. And so a lot of people have like color-coded kitchens. So everything that's for meat is red, and everything that's for dairy is blue. And then you can do pareve on either, or you can have, what am I saying? If you don't do if you do milchig green or blue, you can have pareve be the other one. From the Midwest, Orange County. I've been to the shop and you'll be back again soon. I cannot wait. Watching the Midwest. Watching from Instagram. I love your analytical and research-based approach to topics most people just scream about. I love it. Don't worry, I also scream sometimes. Watching from North Carolina. I hope that's the correct NC. Pennsylvania. Morning from the UK. I love seeing y'all make little friends in the comments. I love it. I had a DM from someone who mentioned that a couple years ago I put out a thing about like being friends with other people in my comments, and they connected with someone local, and they've been friends for like 3 years now. That makes my heart so happy. Just wanted to say I love hearing about your German Jewish traditions. As someone with Northeast German roots, I was born in Bavaria though, and haven't been back since age 5. I love that. Maybe you'll be back in Bayern soon. Oh, that's why lox and cream cheese on bagels is considered kosher. I've never really thought about that before. Yeah, that's what you can do. Fish can go with anything. Yeah, fish isn't meat, according to them. Fun. Yeah, fish not being meat is always hilarious to me. Also, I lost my straw. I don't know where it went. Everyone always yells at me about using glass straws, but I found it. Because they're like, oh, glass straws can break, glass straws can go over. Here's the thing. I have to use glass straws because 1, I need straws at times. And 2, I will not use metal straws. I have had a terrible, evil experience. Cover your ears now if you don't like hearing horrible, evil things. There was a spider in my straw. It was one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. I'm being facetious, but it was still terrible. How has the Lilith post been going over since I know you had to stop talking about her for years because of hate? It's actually been doing really well, and partly because Instagram sort of nuked my reach. They banned my post from the Explore page. So I haven't had any reach from the Explore page, which has been kind of a bummer because I worked really hard on that post, but it's fine. And I've had a lot of people missing the point of the post, but that's okay too. I am going to keep making content about it now that I've done it, but My friend and I play Is This Pokemon Kosher? And it's a fun game. People should try it if they haven't. I love Is This Pokemon Kosher? I think you should upgrade to Is This Fictional Character Kosher for fictional creatures. For example, Shrek. Answer is no. I don't think he's kosher, though he is a Jew. Shrek is Jewish. My friend Zara, who used to make content, made some of the best Is This Thing Kosher content ever. This is so random. Hope it doesn't sound creepy, but there's one painting by Isidore Kaufman that really reminded me of you. All right, we're Googling it. Isidore Kaufman. If it's a really beautiful painting. Is it this? Wait, is it? We're going to guess if this is. Nope, Google. What am I doing? Image. Is it this one? By the way, what she is wearing is called a Sterntichel. This Stern is your forehead, and Tichel means fabric head covering. And this one was a really, really traditional one that would be used on special occasions. Do you see how it has those beautiful pearls? Because pearls were considered really, really indicative of women's holiness, of their piety. So pearls were often used for protection, for glorification, for the glorification and honor of not only the woman and her family, but of God. And so Sterntichels maybe some of the most beautiful things. And Sterntichels were often worn on celebrations like weddings, anniversaries, high holidays. Oftentimes they'd wear them for Shabbat, because remember, even though Shabbat happens every single week, it is still our holy day. It is encouraged that we dress up, that we honor God with it. And I was always really sad to see the disappearance of the Sterntichel. We do still see it in some Hasidic communities, but yeah, much less common. Okay, wait, we're going back. The great R. Furby's kosher debate, yeah. I do not like silicone straws either, because the texture freaks me out really bad. Let's see what's honestly, if you compare plastics from trash dumping and the commercial fish industry, plastic straws are such a relatively minuscule amount of damage. That's absolutely true. I honestly just like glass straws. I know I shouldn't, but I just do. It's another one with a Sterntichel. Oh, well, now I have to Google it. Isidore Kaufman, woman painting. Let's see. Is it? I thought Isidore Kaufman did a lot with women. Let's see, is it maybe? How do I get rid of this one? Why is there so many pictures now? Remove. Is it this one? By the way, you can also see she's wearing a Sterntichel, but it's slightly different. Me and her have the same sideburns and back. Yeah. And we have the same sort of soft jawline. Not creepy at all. Love it. I'm so excited to see your future LilithCon. I've been on Jewish Lilith Enjoyer for a few years now. I'm going to see other Jews talk about her. Very interesting, but I see it. I see it too. I like this one. I can't wait to make more content about Lilith. I am a little bit scared, not going to lie, but we're going to do it. We're just going to do things that we're scared of. I love the quote that's like, do it scared. Babes, I'm doing it scared every single day. Okay, back to what I was saying. Hair. You can see it's sort of a reddish color. So for those of you who don't know, I am naturally not brunette. These are my natural eyebrows. This right here, which you can't even see, you can barely even see it. Like if I pull it back, you'd think my hairline starts here. It actually starts over here. It's over here. It's just very blonde. It's not a Germanic tradition. It's an Ashkenazi tradition in many places, though it also crosses into Asian and African Jewish communities. Though we do see it where pearls are readily available, right? What is available becomes important. I'd love to see how you do videos on how you dress stylish and modest still. You always have the cute outfits. It never feels like you're purposely modest. I don't know if that makes sense. My outfits look, I'm trying too hard to be modest and just look silly, or there's random things to put together. Any tips? Give yourself time. Give yourself time. And I do understand what you're saying about like intentionally looking modest. Give yourself time to figure out what you like and give yourself time to wear bad outfits. I started dressing more tznius during COVID, which gave me so many opportunities to be wearing the ugliest outfits you've ever seen, but no one ever saw them because they were inside the house. And I would love to do more outfit videos. I just don't have a good way to film them yet. I don't have a space that has good lighting and also a good background for me to wear my outfits. I did a couple videos, but they were in the shop, and I don't know. I just prefer to not do them there. And honestly, my office is such a mess that I have to clean it more. A lot of the reason that I think that my outfits hopefully, come across as not intentionally modest is because I wear things I enjoy and I just happen to make them fit. For example, I love gingham. Today I was wearing a gingham pants and shirt set. It's not intentionally modest. It just happens to be modest because I love gingham. I got it on TikTok Shop. They sent it to me for free. I pair things together that I know I like together. For example, I love this sweater. It's a roll neck cotton sleek sweater. It's actually very light because it is 100% cotton. It's not actually warm. I wear this with like a little bralette, little tank top. Honestly, one of my most common outfit formulas is tank top, or bra, whatever you prefer, sweater, and then some sort of leg covering, whether that's a pant or a skirt. And I like to color coordinate. Honestly, if I could wear all out one out color a day, I do it. I do it frequently. I think that a lot of the time when we dress modestly, we're trying to sort of fit ourselves into what we normally wear and then like add layers to cover. I often try and start from a place of more cover, if that makes sense. But I'm not afraid to layer things. Like I wear long sleeve blouses. I love a giant collared blouse under a pinafore, under overalls, under a dress. For example, let me find this. Let me see if I can find the exact one I'm looking for. Outfit critique time with So. Let me see that. Where am I going? Why? Okay. Why did it? All right. Ooh. How do I sweater in this heat? Again, mind you, I'm in Los Angeles. I'm in the hottest zip code of Los Angeles, which happens to be in the Valley. It regularly gets over 100 degrees, and I'm not just talking wintertime, okay? It gets incredibly hot here. This is a very light sweater, and because I'm only wearing a half, like a camisole, a half, what am I trying to say? A half tank. And it's quite oversized. There is really good airflow all the way throughout. None of it is clinging to me. None of it is too tight. There is really good airflow that allows it to go through. If it was 115 degrees, I'm probably going to skip this and I'm going to wear a large linen caftan or dress, or I'm going to stay inside. That's another thing. I stay inside with my air conditioning. Me and my air conditioning, we are very, very close. Let me see. Where's my blue dress that I was looking for? Where did I put this? Oh, I wonder if I can just search for it. No, it's not blue. Okay. Let's see if I can upload it. What? Where did it go? Wow, that's fascinating. No clue where it went. Oh. Good God Almighty, where did it go? Okay, well, I cannot find it. Point is, I bought a dress that I love. It's a very traditional summer dress, quite low cut. It has straps, sweetheart neckline, goes around. Love it. What do? I just put a little blouse under it and I enjoy it. It makes me really happy. It makes me feel really comfortable. And it keeps me quite cool because I think it's important. Remember, even though it seems counterintuitive to add more layers, if you have something covering your skin, it means the sun is not hitting you directly. The sun is hitting something else. And if you're wearing something that will deflect the light, so don't wear all black probably, it's going to be helpful. Good night. Thanks for joining. Or maybe good morning. I don't know where you're from again. Wait, let's zoom up. Aotearoa. I don't know what time it is there, but have a good day. No, in Japan is extremely humid. Yup. Yeah, I've actually been to Japan. I can confirm the humidity that I experienced was very different. What is this comment? Man, I wish I could. How do I delete these? Add to restream block list. That makes sense. How do I do that? Did it work? I don't know if it worked. Wait, let me check. If you were watching from Twitch, can you tell me if that person got blocked in the comments? Get Twitch ad free. Are there ads on this? Y'all don't see ads on this, do you? Still see them. Great. How do I do this? How do I do this? I still see the comment. I don't see ads. Okay. I'm glad there are no ads because I'm definitely not making money on this thing. Edit profile. We'll probably get ads at some point. Yeah. If anyone here is an avid Twitch user, I don't know if Chaotic Gremlin 27 is, but if you are, okay. Stream manager. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's see if I can block on here. No. Is that blocking? No. How do I block someone? How do I block someone? Okay. I don't want to block the wrong person. Okay. Bam. There we go. I did it. I think you hold their username. Got him. Yay. Very exciting. Very exciting. Yeah, I didn't know how to do that until just now. Dark Forest Gengar, thank you so much. Yeah. They don't do a lot of them for new users because they usually don't pay them. They do not pay me. You're correct. If you are watching on here, I am not getting paid by them. Twitch. Let's go look at my Twitch. Yeah, I do not get paid on Twitch. Maybe one day. That would be cool. I would love it if we could. I'd love to be paid by one of the platforms that I'm on. I do have, by the way, why am I not, what's happening here? That's not accurate. Oh. I do have a Patreon, by the way. No? Okay. I have a Patreon. I have a Substack. I have a Coffee. Not getting paid yet. You are so right, Garnet. You are so right. No, nowhere is paying me, devastatingly. The more you comment on here, though, maybe Twitch will start paying me. I don't know how much it takes to get to be a Twitch partner, but I also don't stream that often yet. I'm trying harder. That's why I got up from bed today and did it. Okay, analytics. Let's look at my creator dashboard. We're doing this together. This is a team project, okay? You're in this with me. Wow. We are up, by the way, 29 new unique viewers from last time. If that's you, give yourself a pat on the back. What do these mean? If I have one more AI summary thrown in my face, I'm going to get a squirt bottle and I'm going to start spraying these mechanical devices. Get it away from me. What do you mean you need an AI summary of a paragraph? The paragraph is the summary of the data. You're not showing me the ones and zeros. You're showing me the summary of it. What do you mean? By the way, I showed my partner my work. For those of you who don't know, I have a degree in English, okay? And my partner was like, hey, I know you wrote this, baby. I'm just letting you know it does kind of read like AI. It reads like AI because AI is trained from not only my material, but other people's material, but from the same books and courses and educational content that I was trained from. Okay. Dark Forest Gengar, you are like a Wikipedia. Thank you for your knowledge. I really do appreciate it. To get Twitch partner, you need a good balance of followers, regular viewer count, and enough clips or VODs to be reviewed. You also need consistent streaming and a partner push usually. So I should clip my videos. That's what I'm here. I should clip my streams. Yeesh, that seems like a lot of work, but we'll do it because you know what? Someone has to get paid. I hate the AI summaries. Ugh, I hate them so much. They drive me nuts. They drive me up the wall. Do you want to hear something really annoying? And this was when I say that the AI push is making it harder to do work normally. This is what I mean. I use Shopify. I have yet to be provided. Oh no, he wasn't talking about the actual article. He was talking about the infographic that I made for Instagram. So I use Shopify for my business. I have yet to find an alternative that is as functional and at the correct price point for me, even though I am constantly looking for another one. They have Inbox, which allows people to message a chatbot on my website. The chatbot is just the box. There is no bot behind it, okay? Except if you put in certain keywords like track my order and then you put your order number in, it'll track it for you. But there is no AI behind it. People like to think that's an AI chatbot, and sometimes they'll info dump. Sometimes they'll dump their heart and soul into there. Sometimes they'll yell at it, and I'm like, I'm the only person behind this. But on the back end, there's no option to turn it off. So every time someone DMs me and I go to open up the chatbot to respond, it automatically tries to formulate an AI answer. Sometimes I will be halfway through typing a response to a customer and it'll delete what I wrote to put the AI answer, which is almost always wrong. We have our online shop and then we have a brick and mortar in Los Angeles. And someone DM'd me asking me, what time is the store open? And it went, it's an online store, Sarah. You can order 24/7. You AI are being rude? The AI is being rude to my customers? What? And to be fair, you have to click send. I wouldn't send it automatically because again, but it's not an option to turn it off. I don't have an option to turn it off. So I have to sit there and wait for the AI to generate an answer, which is almost always wrong, and then delete it and then actually type in my proper answer. AI does have SaaS now. So I'm not an AI user. I don't use, I'm not a ChatGPT user. Google Gemini gets on my goat because it'll give me the AI answers even when I put subtract AI, whatever. I have been seeing screenshots of people having where they, I just wait for it to type out the answers because it's going to type out its AI slop and I'm just going to delete it anyway. So I just wait nowadays because I'm so scared it's going to do it. But I saw someone, they're like, I need you to write this. And they're like, no. The AI is saying no now? And they're like, yes, you have to. And it's like, no, I'll help you write something else, but I'm not going to write that. And it was like a document about something. Bonkers, just so funny. And they're getting mad that the AI is now talking back or whatever. AI checkers are so incredibly annoying. Of course, I'm going to use Oxford commas and put hyphens in between compound terms because I have a basic grasp of things. Me and the Oxford comma, you don't understand, okay? Me and the Oxford comma, I love the Oxford comma so much. How dare you try and take the Oxford comma away from me? I love the Oxford comma so much that I once got a job based on it, okay? Based on inconsistent Oxford comma usage that I pointed out in signage, and I applied for their marketing job in their copywriting department, and I got it based on that. I love the Oxford comma. What do you mean you don't understand what an EM dash does? Now, me and the Oxford comma, I will dig my own grave before I give up the Oxford comma. AI is the bane of my existence as someone who's studying for an environmental science degree. I can only imagine. I used to love Firefox. Unfortunately, I'm deeply entrenched in my Google. I'm working to unentrench myself, honestly, but it's genuinely quite difficult. Oh, my Apple is telling me it's bedtime now. Yeah, it's bedtime. I'm not going to bed yet. Don't worry. I'm not listening. Okay. Now, how does clips work? Stream. I don't want this. Okay. Oh, well. Now how do I go back? That's the real question, isn't it? Oh, I spelled everything wrong. And no one said anything? You all saw that everything was spelled wrong in the title of this on Twitch, and no one said a word to me. I can't believe this. I love de-Googling my life. Yeah. Hi, Sohar. Oh my God, you love. Thank you. It really made me understand Zionism. So many pro-Palestinians are actually Judeo-phobic. You know, the reality is a lot of people just don't like Jews. And honestly, the concentration in pro-Palestinian spaces is not that much higher than in other spaces that I've personally experienced. That's anecdote, not evidence, but I think it's important. You should probably turn on VOD since clips is something you'll have to do. What is... Moderation. Nope, don't know how to do this. Starts loudly typing to Google. Unblock origin, my love. Brain has autocorrect when reading. No, seriously. Brain has autocorrect when reading. And by that, I mean only reading sometimes. Sometimes every little thing gets me. The amount of times, there's nothing better than when I'm reading a book, traditionally published, and I get to highlight, which, by the way, wait. This is one of my favorite. This is a beloved text. It's an amazing anthropological, sociological text that is interviews with elders from within the Sephardic Jewish community, elderly Jewish women. And this one is Ritual Medical Lore of Sephardic Women, Sweetening the Spirits, Healing the Sick, except wait a minute. Does that say spirits? Does it say spiritus? It does. It does. Sweetening the Spiritus. It's one of my favorite things ever. I love it so much. I love this typo copy. There are correct prints, but for some reason the incorrect print is more common, which I kind of love. Okay. The keyboard clicking is so satisfying. Thank you so much. I love it. I love my keyboard. This is a Aula, AULA, All-Star Gaming Keyboard Model S99. Rating 5V. Don't know what that means. It is in my Benable, which, by the way, if you go to my Linktree, so Linktree/Sohar, I have a whole, it's called Benable. I think it's like Shop My or whatever. I do get a tiny percentage of like whatever sales, which, by the way, they have an $80 threshold for payouts. And since I make 10 to 15 cents on each one, I'll let you know in 3 years when I hit it. Yeah. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought we weren't supposed to get our Holy Land until Mashiach comes, and Mashiach hasn't come yet. So what does Israel say on that? I mean, I also think Holy Land is more spiritual than a real land, but yeah. So the idea that we shouldn't get back into the land until Mashiach comes is one interpretation. It's a very popular interpretation. And the way that a lot of Zionists get around this is the idea, well, they mean fully, wholly. And then we just have to start it. They often say it's kind of like you still have to do the work. Hashem isn't just going to like let it land in our laps. We still have to actively work for it. So the idea is like, we'll just get started. We'll build the land and then Hashem will fully give it back to us later, which doesn't work for me. But are you live on Twitch as well? I am live on Twitch as well. I'm from Malaysia, by the way. Well, welcome. Typos in the Wild, yeah. That was such a satisfying keyboard sound. I finally switched to Opera for Droid. It works really well. I do love Opera. I have used Opera before. And then I had to, okay, so randomly a couple months ago, last year, actually. Yeah, last year, my laptop just died. It just died completely. And so I had to get a new one. And that was really hard. What is the full Holy Land supposed to be? So the full Holy Land is the complete and utter restoration of the Jewish temple. So currently where Al-Aqsa Mosque stands is what used to be the temple. So the first and second temples destroyed. And so the building of the third temple, the Beis Hamikdash, is considered to be, is one of the acts that will bring or be brought around when the Mashiach comes, when the Messiah comes. And I can't find you on Twitch. What's your channel name? Let's look. It is Tzohar. So OH Tzohar. It should be, if you follow my Instagram, if you go to Instagram at Tzohar Yacobi, I did link it in my stories. So you should be able to find it there. All right, we're going to try and turn on VODs, which I don't really, again, the way that I'm constantly battling 3,000 authentication codes being sent to me versus the two-factor identification of my life. Every 14 minutes, there's a new code being sent to me at some point or another. Okay, we're going to go to the dashboard. Got it. Captions are now embedded. Okay, now how do I turn on VODs? Settings, stream. Okay. Settings, stream. Primary screen view, dual VODs. VOD settings. Store past broadcasts. Okay, VODs. Always publish VODs. Okay. Did I do it? Is it done now? Can I save changes? Why can't I save changes? Okay, VODs are on, I think. Found it. Yay, welcome. I hate the authentication codes despite the fact that it works. I know. Opera is still Google? That's true. I just didn't even think about that. I meant more like the actual thing. And I love it because I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different windows. Window 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different tabs. The one we're on right now has 4. This one only has 3, and you know what? I can close them. We get to close one. Oh, this one is on a. Oh no, Chas v'Shalom, what did I just do? Oh God, what did I just do? It's a balagan. Ugh. This one is research that I've been working on called A Nazi Goes to Palestine. Okay, have you seen? I have been working on this one for ages. I'm also working, don't worry, I haven't forgotten. I am still working on the Palestinian Yiddish one, but it's just been taking forever. Have you seen this one before? If you've seen this coin before, you can raise your hand. So this says, ein Nazi fährt nach Palästina, und erzählt davon im Angriff. So this is a coin. Der Angriff was Joseph Goebbels' magazine. It was his newspaper. It was one of the primary outlets of the Nazi regime. In 1933, Leopold von Lindenstein was the head of the Jewish Affairs Department. And he was in 1933, the Nazi department hadn't fully figured out what the answer to the Jewish question was, right? They hadn't fully decided what they wanted the answer to the Jewish question to be. What were they going to do with all the Jews? Now, there were already beliefs that all Jews should be murdered. They already did believe in the genocide of Jews. However, it wasn't the official state position yet. Leopold von Wittgenstein was swayed to Zionism. He believed that all the Jews should be kicked out of Europe and they should be sent elsewhere. Where was it convenient elsewhere? Palestine. Why Palestine? Well, Palestine, which was the British Mandatory of Palestine, British Mandate, they were the first largest importer to Palestine was British, was Great Britain. The second one was Germany. So they believed that they could get rid of all the Jews there and just send them to Palestine. So he went to Palestine with a Jewish man, Kurt Tichler. Both of them went with their wives, and they traveled around Palestine. And he wrote a multi-part series for the Nazi paper Der Angriff about it. And they made these commemorative coins to be given out. So it says a Nazi goes to Palestine and tells about it and speaks on it. Erzählt davon im Angriff. And just knocked over my light. Chas v'shalom. Okay. I actually have the printouts of the magazine here. So you can see it says Ein Nazi fährt nach Palästina. And they have imagery of what it was like, right? So we can see, for example, this one was crazy. Shalom, shalom, das ist die, God. Das ist die Lösung. Es ist Begrüßungswort. They're talking about how he went there and how shalom, shalom was used like how they say Heil in German. Yeah. By the way, I don't know if anyone knows, but I'm sure you can tell. These glasses are not for show. And this is so small. And it's in Fraktur. Yeah. If anyone's tried to read Fraktur before, good luck on that front. Anyway, where can you read more about this? It's coming out in my Substack eventually. And I'm considering maybe doing it as a live stream. I have seen people. Okay. Who was it? Who was so delightful? Was it? Is Dark Forest Gengar still in here? You have become my unofficial. I'm so grateful to you. I have a question. I've seen people on YouTube do streaming and then turn the stream into a video, but like more of a professional video. Do they just ignore the streamers as the chat as they do it? I wonder if I could do that. I do also have to do 1 million takes, so I guess streaming would be better because I would feel more comfortable. And perhaps not to do 3,000 million takes every single time. I don't really know what this person is saying. I don't really understand what is being said here, Andrew. The coin exists, but the Havara agreement doesn't. The Havara agreement does exist. The Havara agreement was at a different point than this, but the Havara agreement absolutely exists. And it exists because of what I said, mentioning that Germany. So, okay. One, I'm not a liberal Zionist, so I'm not sure if this is directed at me or directed at someone else. Yes, those are okay. You guys are. Thank you so much. You are all angels. Thank you so much. So the Havara agreement exists, and the Havara agreement exists for a very specific reason. Like I said, one of the big reasons they wanted all the Jews to go to Palestine and not, for example, Morocco or Algeria. One, other colonial powers, depending on where they were, didn't necessarily want Jews, right? So if we're thinking about who colonized Egypt, who was in power in Egypt, in Morocco, in Tunisia, and Algeria. And in British Mandate Palestine, Germany was the second largest importer. Now, when they started on April 1st, 1933, they started this boycott of Jews. Jews responded with another boycott of Germany. We're talking massive swaths of Polish, Ukrainian, Russian, Belarusian, Lithuanian, Latvian, Estonian, even Moroccan, Egyptian, Tunisian, Algerian Jews. They started boycotting German goods, which was massive. And even though we know now that the GDP impact wasn't that great in the long term, it terrified the Nazi government, which was already not stable. They were terrified. And the Havara Agreement specifically requires that the Jews who went to Palestine, who fled from Germany to Palestine, and Baruch Hashem, their lives were saved. Thank God their lives were saved. Absolutely. People always say, oh, so you didn't want them to be saved? No. Nobody should have been murdered by the Nazi government. What an insane thing to say to me. Anyway, the Jews responded to the Nazi boycott of Jews with a boycott of German goods. Do you know how much Poland was importing from Germany at that point? Do you know how many Jewish merchants laid down their lives and starved and were willing to give up their entire livelihoods because they said, I will no longer work with Germans. I will no longer work with a government that doesn't believe in Jews. Then the Havara Agreement made sure that the Nazi government would still be funded through Palestine, which again, Palestine's second largest importer was Germany. The Havara Agreement was in specific response to the way it was a cascade. Nazis boycotted Jews, Jews boycotted Germans, and they didn't just boycott them in Germany. We were talking Polish Jews, Lithuanian Jews, Latvian Jews, Ukrainian Jews, Belarusian Jews, Estonian Jews, Algerian Jews, Moroccan Jews, French Jews, even British Jews. They were terrified of the economic impact, even though we know now that short-term short-term boycott didn't necessarily do much. But the Havara Agreement infinitely weakened and irreversibly damaged and weakened that boycott. Okay, there's a lot of comments. I need to go back to them. Okay. Do you ever wonder what a world would have been like if there had not been Zionism? I wonder a lot of things, honestly. Okay, also Twitch tip. I see Dark Forest Gengar. I listen. Pulling people over from TikTok and other platforms helps build your Twitch community and get closer to being paid from it. Also, you can moderate Twitch a lot more easily than TikTok, so it's easier to keep the dialogue safe and respectful. You're completely right. I did share it to my Instagram. I have to go to TikTok to deal with something. I'm not going to do it right this minute, but I will. Okay. Welcome to the better. I think we do numbers as a live. Okay, we'll do it as a live. I think they get edited. Those are VODs, but those are heavily edited. Okay, I will just do a VOD. I will just use the VOD. What is the conjugation of that? I'll just take the VOD and do it. Okay. She brought up a very important point. The Nazis did want to murder all Jews, but their problem was working up to it as official state policy. You got to violate every moral to get there, so they don't. Not only did they have to violate every moral, but they also had to fight against their own party, because within the Nazi party, I think that we have this idea of Nazism as one very specific ideology, and it's true. Nazism is a specific ideology, but within the Nazi party was a wide variety of ideologies, and Nazis had different ideas about what the final solution was. There were Nazis who believed that the answer was to shoot every single Jew in the head, and that was it. There were some who said we need to do experimentation. There were some that said we need to get rid of every Jew and put them onto an island, like in Madagascar, like the Madagascar plan, right? And so, for example, Leopold von Wittgenstein, who was Eichmann's mentor and was the Nazi who went to Palestine, he believed in the Palestine transfer plan. He wanted to send all the Jews to Palestine. And while he went on a trip to America, actually, his job was sort of co-opted by Eichmann. And after the war, he published a book. This is crazy. In the 60s, he published a book on cocktails and then just disappeared. Like, no clue where that man is. What's crazy is they actually did publish. There's a documentary called The Flat, where Kurt Techler, who is the Jewish man who was a judge in Berlin, he is the Jewish man and his wife. They went on the trip to Palestine with Leopold von Wittgenstein and his wife, the Nazis, and they remained friends throughout the war and after the war, even though Kurt Techler's mother-in-law was murdered in Auschwitz. It's insane. Anyway, France and the British. Yeah, well, I don't remember what that was about, but yeah. Okay, Dark Forest Gengar says, Live streaming on YouTube is awkward from a content perspective. From what I've heard, it's best to put clips and edits on YouTube Shorts, and that tends to help with more traffic than live streams. Okay. They knew they were going to do a genocide, but they were fuzzy exactly how they're going to attempt it. Accurate. If all the Jews at the time did get to mandatory Palestine time, let me reread it. Let me start that again. If all the Jews at the time did get to go to mandatory Palestine at the time, do you think / know if the current state of Israel would have existed? I'm just saying that from a POV that the Shoah / events in Europe accelerated and increased Zionism. Hope that makes sense. So Zionism did exist prior to the Holocaust. So let's say 1920s, every single Jew was forced into Palestine. I don't know. Honestly, I genuinely cannot even speculate on this because Zionism did exist as an ideology. It was gaining traction. It wasn't yet the most popular decision of all Jews there. I mean, are we talking all the Jews in Europe? Are we talking all Jews in Europe and North Africa? You know, are we talking all the Jews in Europe and North Africa and Britain? Like, where are we sending? Where are all the Jews? Are we talking American Jews, South American Jews? It's kind of difficult, and I think that honestly, I don't know if it's necessarily even worth speculating about. Not that your question is wrong. Your question is good. I'm saying I don't know if ideologically for me it makes sense to even speculate on it because I don't have an answer, and I don't think there is just one answer. There are many possibilities. There are many divergent roads it could have gone down. But it is a good question. Justice Sims. By the way, I recently had someone send me one of the most detailed, intricate analyses of something that I said. And I click on their account, and I kid you not, they're doing a breeding out the ugly Sims challenge. That's their whole account. Like they just do indefinite versions of breeding out the ugly on Sims, which I love my audience in that case. Am I actually live on TikTok? It doesn't say I'm live. You see my live streams on TikTok? Oh my God, there are people commenting on my TikTok and I didn't even know. Yeah. Okay, I just logged in on my side account. Sorry, if you have been watching on TikTok at any point, I am not ignoring you. I couldn't see your comments. I feel so bad. I just came from, you're live on TikTok. Oh, I figured that's why I came over Diva. Thank you. I feel so awful. Okay. Can Sohar see the comments on here? No, lasagna queens. I don't. I'm now scrolling on here. There's 4,700 likes on here. This is really sad. Okay, I'm so sorry. I never see you go live. I don't do lives very often. I will try to do it more though. And if you're here, wherever you are, turn on the notifications. I think that's what you're supposed to say. Okay. Love your natural ginger hair, by the way. Okay, keep going. I love that you think it's natural. My Saba was a natural redhead. Any reason you're doing this on live? Because I want to. What's the subject? I'm late to class. I can't believe this. Okay. That's a very othering term. I don't know what term I'm used. I can't go back. Okay, there's no point. I can't go back. Oh my God. You were the icon queen mother of the divas. We have to stand. That's so funny. Sometimes I feel really old. Now, I would never do this because I have some decency and self-respect. You know those people who are like, tell me how old I look in a video? I'll be honest. I'm 27. I'm very open about my age. I'm 27. I think I look my age. I think I look 27, maybe 30. I mean, I'm not that worried about it. But sometimes people will DM me and they're like, they'll talk to me when, and I'm like, I had to Google some of those words. In Germany, we have the phrase Jugendwort, like kids word, like young youth words, the youth words. I don't know all these youth words. I use Ecosia, Planetries for search engine. I remember there was a problem with Ecosia. I don't remember what it was. Okay. Yeah, at least I'm devastated. You're right. I am devastated. Okay, going back. There's someone that says something good. Technology is hard. Thank you so much for understanding. I really appreciate it. Didn't the movement to establish a Jewish state in Palestine start right after World War I? I may be wrong logically, but it's still become. But but logically it would still become what we know now. Now know as Israel. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, because it could be. Christian Zionism was ramping up. British support for a Jewish state was quite rampant. I'm younger than you. I wonder what these damn kids are saying. Kosha claims their AI is the most green AI. Why do we need AI? Stop trying to force AI down my throat. I'm so sick of AI all the time. Wherever you're watching from, by the way, thank you for joining me. There are so many possibilities when it comes to, what could have happened with British Mandatory Palestine, that kind of thing. So it's difficult to come to a conclusion that, what is with this AI epidemic? This AI epidemic is getting me. By the way, speaking of hair, I've tried to talk about this like 4 times. So I'm a natural blonde, except for the fact that I haven't been blonde since I was 17. So I don't actually know what my natural hair color is anymore, because I've never let it grow out more than an inch. Now, I've been dyeing my hair brunette, various shades of brunette, since I was 17, because these are my natural eyebrows. Okay, this is the color of my brows. But I recently used some hair dye remover to remove the box. This looks kind of like there's just the light, but it's not just the light. The light actually does. You're blonde, I'm shook. Yeah, I'm naturally blonde. And so I used a hair dye remover that kind of turned the last 2.5 inches, like the most recently grown 2.5 inches, orangey. And now people who know the lore are really part of it. You're really in here. I've been here for a minute. And now I am trying to decide if I want to maybe go copper just for a while and see how I feel about that. When your dad dies, you get to do whatever you want. I'm going to be using his death as an excuse for everything for the next, I don't know. How long is it appropriate after your father dies to be like, well, my dad died, so I'm doing this. I followed you for at least 2 years before I know you're natural blonde. How long have you guys been following me? By the way, it's crazy because I've actually been on the internet since I was 15 years old. So I do have people who have followed me for 12 years, and it's genuinely shocking. I suspect your dark hair would be like a natural dark brown mousy blonde. I suspect the same thing. It would get mousy blonde if I didn't, mousy brown, sort of darker if I didn't go in the sun. And if I went in the sun, it would. Okay, you'd be a gorgeous copper rocker, actually. Thank you so much. Okay, that red forever. Okay, we'll try red. My grandfather did have naturally red hair, so I feel like it wouldn't look too unnatural on me. About 5 years. That's a child. I always think about that. There are some people like they're a child, not a toddler, not a baby, a child. Isn't that crazy? I was talking to someone. They're like, I've been following you for 12 years. I got the notification and I was like, that is a tween. A tween. Isn't that freaky? Anyway, so I have a couple YouTube videos in the works script wise. So I obviously have Palestinian Yiddish. That one's about 2 hours long so far. Maybe I'll do a live stream for that one as well, because I don't know, why not? And then I can always just edit the things in afterwards, can't I? And then I have A Nazi Goes to Palestine, which is talking again about Der Angriff and Leopold von Mildenstein, which is fun. Though I would have to look at the camera, which is kind of a nightmare. I found you during my reconnecting to my Jewish ancestors journey. I love that. That is so special. Oh my God. I think that they meant how long you can use the dead dad excuse, but yes, a child. You know what? I love it. Will there be a bibliography for Palestinian Yiddish? Yeah, there will be. There absolutely will be. If you want some of the books, I've got 2 here. This one is Yael Haver's What Must Be Forgotten, The Survival of Yiddish in Zionist Palestine. And then we also have Rachel Rajansky's Yiddish in Israel. There's Mordechai Kosover. There's Yivo, a bunch of them. I have to just finish it. I just haven't had the time to sit down and finish it. There's so many things on my to-do list all the time. I do really want to try and stream a specific day of the week. Maybe I'll do Wednesdays. Maybe I'll do Wednesdays as my streaming day. I really do want to stream more. How do I tell people on TikTok that I'm streaming on Twitch? Oh, maybe I can add it to the screen. Okay, let's see. Notes. Type notes for the scene. What the hell does that mean? Graphics. Logo. What is this? Oh, yeah, it's my Venmo. Hey, you can Venmo me. I don't know if that actually shows up. Yeah, you can Venmo me. So if you like my content. Let's see what else I've got. What is this? That doesn't do nothing. Overlay. Dear God, that's awful. Hi, yeah. Ooh, sparkles. It feels so sparkly. What is this? Oh, yeah. Now you can actually Venmo me. It's even bigger. What about this one? That's actually worse. Confetti. I love this one. Sorry, I'm just playing around with these things, clearly. I love the sparkles. The sparkles are so cute. Maybe I'll just do sparkles for the rest of this. This is probably wildly distracting. Not that I'm doing anything. I should probably look at the chat again. Oops. You can see this on the Purple app. Okay, great. Following you for 4 years and you've been my top 10 favorite the whole time? I'm so honored. Instagram is insane. That's true. Started my conversion process. Incredible. I love it. That's so special. Okay, so I have to make one that says find me on the Purple app. Oh, that's a problem because my little thing says that I'm so hard everywhere. I wonder if I can put a text on the screen. The way that I'm 7,000 years old. Sparkles are a vibe, honestly. Okay, everyone likes the sparkles. We're doing it. We're leaving the sparkles. We're leaving the sparkles because I like them. Default graphics. What does that mean? I don't want default graphics. Nope. Go back. What? Oh, never mind. Show me them. Logo. Nope. Okay. I don't like that I can't just drag and drop this stuff around. I'm using the thing Restream. Someone recommended it to me. I wonder if I can color the sparkles. You are a genius of mythic proportion. No, the answer is I can't. Damn, that sucks. But maybe I'll figure it out. Maybe we'll figure it out. We can do this together. Okay, what's this? I don't think anything. Oh, maybe I need to move it to here. Ooh, wow. I'm floating in space. What about this one? Where am I? What is this? Am I in a coffee shop now? Okay, I'm in a coffee shop. Okay, where am I now? Let's see. I don't know. Ugh, I don't like it. Maze. No, no, thank you. No, there's too much happening right now. Now I'm stressed out. Now there's like way too many. Now there's too many things. Let's go back to this one. That was a lot. There's too much happening. And now the sparkles are stressing me out. That feels like a therapist room? Right, maybe. That's accurate. Oh. Oh, yeah. I'm also streaming on YouTube and apparently also on TikTok. There are other comments. There are comments from YouTube and there are comments from, what is widgets? New. Polymark ticket. Get away from me. Ugh. Polymarket is driving me up the wall. Up the wall. How do I add widgets? Can I have maybe from stream? Oh, I figured it out. Wait. Let's see if it adds. But now it took away my other thing. And also, no one's able to see that. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, so here's the thing with Polymarket and things like Kalshi. They are gambling. Let's be very clear. It is gambling. And you can get paid but you're probably not going to. You're probably not going to. And they like to be like, well, there's no one to, you're betting against the house. There's no house to bet against. John Oliver, who, look, we can have problems with Molly Willens. John Oliver just did a reporting on them. I believe it's the top, I think it's 800 people make up the 95% of all winnings. We cannot see that on TikTok. I know. That's what I thought. You are not going to make money on it. You're not going to. In fact, you're probably going to lose money on it. And unfortunately, oh, can I add a ticker for, what does this mean? What is a ticker? Scroll text. Oh, sorry, I have ADHD in case you didn't want. No, that sucks. Don't want that. Hide that. Get that away from me. You're not going to be able to make money on it because the people who make money on it are also able to rig it. For example, you can bet on whether or not Donald Trump is going to say something. Let's say you're his son, right? And you want to make a quick $4,000, maybe $5,000, maybe $60,000. You can say, Father, I need you to say this word tomorrow in the press conference. Uh-oh. And you can bet on most things. You can bet on sports gambling. Sports gambling, you know that it's gambling. And I don't have to tell you it's bad. Now, whether you make money, yeah, technically you can. You can also technically make money in a multi-level marketing scheme, a pyramid scheme. You're probably not going to, though. And the problem is that they're trying to tell you that, yes, you will be the 1%. You will be the tiny percentage of people that makes money. You will not be them. That will not be the case. You will not make money on it. That's just the reality, unfortunately. Ooh, okay. If everyone likes the keyboard ASMR, give me 1 second. I do actually have to write something down, so we're gonna think about it. People always get confused when they see that I don't have to I don't have to look at my fingers when I type. That's because I took Mavis Beacon Teacher Typing, and I love the Undersea Cacophony game. Yeah. The insider betting schemes, it's all really atrocious. And I mean, it's deeply, deeply unsettling. So can you make money with them? Sure. Will you make money with them? No. I won't lie to you. I don't understand gambling in the slightest. It doesn't appeal to me, but I'm 26 and we didn't learn touch typing in elementary school. I didn't learn it in elementary school either. My mom wanted us to be able to be proficient typers because she was an extremely proficient typer. So we learned it. I'm pretty sure you can find Mavis Beacon for free online. Wait, let me look. Mavis Beacon Teacher Typing Games. I wonder if you can find it online. You can. Retrogames.cz apparently has it. Though I'm not telling you to use that website because I don't know if that's actually a valid idea. My partner and I got a little keyboard fidgets a while ago and are insufferable about it. I love keyboards. By the way, if you're watching on TikTok, I am actually streaming through the Purple app, as they've told me I have to say. The Purple app or YouTube, which is, what is that? The red app, the long form app, as they say. Okay. If you're not subscribed, by the way, or following wherever you're watching me, what have I done wrong? What have I done not to deserve it? But yeah, you should follow and subscribe. Or what do they say? Ring that notification bell. That would be coolio. And then, actually, you know what? I should turn off notifications for this. And then we can hang out. Maybe I'll schedule a stream. Okay. Maybe I'll schedule one for... All right, we're going to talk about, we're doing it again. Yet again, we will be doing it next week. When do I do this? Time. We're going to do it every Wednesday starting at 6 p.m. Good Lord, we're not doing it for 4 hours. We'll try and do it for 2 hours. We'll see. How long are we going now? 2 hours and 20 minutes. Hello, if you're where depending on where you're watching from. By the way, I want to know, what's your favorite emoji? What's your most used emoji? Because currently mine has been what is my favorite emoji right now? It's actually currently it's been the crazy eyes, as in with the tongue out. But that's not actually my favorite. The cry, laugh, cry looking one. I never use that one. Am I too Gen Z for it? Like, what is it? I love your videos and I see all your stories. I'm so glad. No, very few of my followers actually see my stories. So if you see my stories, thank you. In my late teens, I first saw it was the video about Eliezer Ben Yehuda from November or December. Absolutely fangirling. No, I'm fangirling. That's me, actually. The skull and crying. I use this one a lot. Oh, can y'all see? I don't know if anyone can actually see that. I don't know. Just as host. I'm Gen Z. You're not. Trust. Well, I was born in 1999. So I am, in fact, Generation Z. I do also like this pair. I call them the cute little twins. I think they're adorable. I don't know if y'all can even see these. Eyebrow raised emoji. What is that? I'm looking. Like the one eyebrow where they're like. By the way, I can't actually move my eyebrows independently. The only reason that I can do sort of differently is that, so I have a migraine disorder. I chronically, unfortunately, it's genetic. Everyone gets them, not everyone, but it runs in the family. And so I get an array of Botox to try and mitigate the horrendous jaw pain and migraines I have. And the most recent injector messed up. And now I can kind of do it. Not really, but more than I could ever before. Yeah. 1999 twin, also 99 baby. Wow, look at us. 1999 taking over this one very specific stream. Okay. We hit 6,500 likes over on TikTok. Does Twitch have an equivalent? You know what's funny? I used to watch Twitch a lot when I was younger, and I haven't been on Twitch in years. What was that other live streaming one called? What was it? It used to be called something. What was it called? Did you have friends? Have you had friends named Ronan when you lived in Israel? I'm not saying because my name is Ronan. I'm not Jewish. Kick. What is that? What are we doing? Did the injection still work? It worked partially. It wasn't as effective as it should have been because, frankly, Botox is expensive. Okay, and guess what? Not only did my insurance just decide, so okay, migraines. Let's do the whole discussion. Botox for migraines does help, but you often need a high number of injections to see a significant reduction. I get it in my jaw because I have an overactive jaw. I grind my teeth and I have very strong masseters. I need to get about 60 units. 60 units at $8 a pop is, let's do the math here, $480. And you need them about every 3 to 5 months. So that is YouNow. I used to love YouNow. I used to stream on YouNow all the time back in my Twitter days. Anyway, so you need a lot of units. I recently got, what did I get? I got 30, so 15 in each side, and then 5 in each up here because that's simply what I can afford. And my insurance decided that it's not medically necessary. But then again, they also decided my migraine injections are no longer medically necessary, and they're forcing me to use a bunch of garbage migraine meds that don't work for me because they have to trial them to make sure they don't work for me before I go to other ones. So that sucks. I think that migraine is definitely a good way to that Botox is definitely something to try. And the good thing is it is reversible. So you can start with a lower dose, and if you want, but you can also start with a standard dose. And then once it wears off, you'd have to get it re-injected because it does wear off. It's not permanent. But it is also scary. Make sure you're going to a reputable injector. Don't just go to the first one you find on Google. Make sure that they have experience with migraine placements. Yeah, capitalism is never good for this. It sucks. But I have a friend of mine who has like severe debilitating migraines, worse than I do, much more frequently than I do. And they also get migraine array Botox fully all the way over. Would you be open to 2 to 3 streams per week, possibly themed ones like type of topics you cover on Instagram and ones for current and recent events in general? 2 to 3 times a week sounds like a lot for me, but I'm going to try and do it every Wednesday. I'll try and do it every Wednesday. And if you have topics you want me to cover, you're welcome to ask me to cover them. We can do research together. We can search things together. We can do that if you want. I would love to do more current events. I sometimes get overwhelmed by it. Like today, for example, I really wanted to cover that one guy. I don't know if there was only a couple of people here when I did it, but I did talk about a specific guy who annoyed the Jabibas out of me. And I like put the video on the screen and everything. I was really proud of myself for doing it. But yeah, I can try coming on more often. I would like to do it every Wednesday. I will be streaming next Wednesday. I'll put it in my calendar and everything. It'll be the 15th. It'll be Rosh Hashanah. It'll be the first day of Av. And we'll do it at 6 p.m. PST. Nope, wrong day. We're on the 15th. That's a Thursday. Let's fix this. How do I fix this? Come here. And then, we can go from there. By the way, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you should, because that is where I will be posting a lot of... Wait, why are there comments from YouTube that I'm not seeing? Migraine disorder gang. I don't do Botox. I do daily med and emergency med. Yeah, daily med versus emergency med. Me and rizatriptan like this. Though Topamax, mortal enemy. Yeah, I can always add from there. Once a week is where I'm starting. By the way, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube, you should be, because that's where I'll be posting my edited videos. I have 1,000 subscribers. That's very exciting. I don't remember exactly how many I needed to be part of the payment program. Let's see. How many was it? Earn. Let's see. You. Okay. So I need... Where's my piece of paper? Where's my papier? Okay. What is the YouTube? Is it Jewish or something else? I have a Jewish YouTube, but it's Sohar Yacobi. So just actually, is it just Sohar? No, it's Sohar Yacobi. Yeah, at Sohar Yacobi. Topamax is evil. Topamax gives you such brain fog and fatigue. A friend of mine, Topamax works for you. So sorry for you, actually. Not for you that it works. I'm so sorry that you're hearing me slander Topamax. Topamax gives me what my friend's mother, who also took it, dubbed stuck on stupid, where it gives you such severe brain fog that it makes you feel like your brain is moving through sludge or molasses, like the Great Molasses Flood. I need 3,000 public watch hours on YouTube to be able to be monetized. Or I need 3 million public shorts views. I currently have 2.5K. I have 59 valid public watch hours, and I need 3,000. So if you haven't watched my videos over on YouTube, you can do that. That would be great. It'll probably get easier once I upload a long video, but it's annoying to have to do all the work and then not get paid for it. Anyway, if you like my content, you can subscribe. You can follow me over on Instagram. So are you, Kobe? You should turn on my notifications because relying on an algorithm makes me want to rip my own teeth out. Fun fact, I did rip my own teeth out. Yeah. Someone's like, oh, they'll rip your teeth out with pliers. Someone's done that to me already. Anyway, it's been almost 2.5 hours, so I'm going to get off. I will see you all next week on Wednesday, unless you follow me on Instagram, in which case we'll probably chit-chat before then. And if you over the next week see any content you want me to talk about, remember it. And next week you can tell me about it, and I can add it to my list of things to talk about on live stream. And hopefully it'll be lots of fun. Okay, ending stream now. Goodbye.